Coming up in this episode. Other stories Burr had told reporters throughout the years began to emerge, and these tales of his just grew and grew and became more and more fantastic.
I did not know that.
Thanks for stopping by. I Did Not Know That Classic TV Edition. Please like and subscribe.
I'll think about it.
That's all I ask.
I was watching an episode of Perry Mason and caught glimpses of what looked like a sling on Raymond Burr's arm. I wanted to find out the story behind it and decided to do some digging. I discovered that in season 8, Burr wore either a cast or sling in 4 straight episodes in 1965. I read that in one episode, Lieutenant Tragg asked about his arm, and Mason said it's an old war injury that has flared up. But I wondered, how did Burr hurt his arm so badly in real life? Looking into how the injury happened led me down a rabbit hole I never expected and where this story gets very bizarre. Jon Lovitz used to portray a character called Tommy Flanagan, who was a pathological liar.
Hello, my name is Tommy Flanagan, and I'm a member of Pathological Liars Anonymous. In fact, I'm the president of that organization.
He would sometimes
I won
exclaim,
the Pulitzer Prize that year. Yeah, that's a ticket.
after telling a particularly big
I
lie.
went to Vietnam, and I was injured catching a mortar shell in my teeth.
As a lot of people know by now, Raymond Burr led a very different life than what he publicly acknowledged. But as I looked into how he said his arm injury happened, I found that the tales he told about his past took on a life of their own, Tommy Flanagan style,
Yeah, that's a ticket.
each claim getting wilder and wilder. Coming upon this was as unexpected as watching the normally stoic and serious Perry Mason actor dancing on stage like this, like a maniac. These days with the internet, his fantastic stories would have never been able to last that long, but back in the day there wasn't a whole lot of fact-checking going on. Years after Burr's death, biographer Michael Seth Starr began to look into some of the stories Burr told through the years, and he wrote a book called Hiding in Plain Sight: The Secret Life of Raymond Burr. But let's get back to his shoulder injury. In a 1965 TV Guide article called Pleading His Own Case, Burr claimed he tore the tendons in his shoulder during a trip to visit the troops in Vietnam. He told the dramatic story that the injury happened when the helicopter he was riding in crashed. While there is definite proof that Burr did travel to Vietnam to visit the troops, the helicopter crash never happened. The true story was that Burr liked to collect seashells, and he tried to move a boulder to get to some shells he wanted. In the process, he tore a bicep tendon in his arm. As I was looking into this arm injury story, other stories Burr had told reporters throughout the years began to emerge, and these tales of his just grew and became more and more fantastic. I did read that occasionally when a reporter would try to dig a bit deeper into his stories, he was met with a terse, "I don't discuss that," and the intimidated reporters learned quickly to change the subject. Wouldn't it be great if all the characters we see on TV were exactly like that in real life? Maybe not. But the talented people who portray these characters sometimes make us feel that's who they really are. Some may not be like that at all in real life, which is probably a good thing. The TV character of Perry Mason was a man of impeccable character who let nothing get in his way in his search for the truth. As we find out now, Burr had a habit of stretching the truth a bit. Okay, a whole lot. So what really did happen in Raymond Burr's life? The truth is that Burr was married but only once. In 1948, he married a woman named Isabella Ward. But the marriage didn't last, and they were divorced in 1952. It was the only time Burr married, and it produced no children. Ward has said that if he'd been married before and had a son, she certainly would have known that. Burr never served in the Navy at all. The closest he came to any military service was a brief stint in the U.S. Coast Guard. He was never wounded, never saw action, and was never involved in any combat at all to receive a Purple Heart. Dean Hargrove, executive producer of the Perry Mason TV film, said in 2006, Raymond had the ability to mythologize himself to some extent, and some of his stories about his past tended to grow as time went by.
Yeah, that's a ticket.
While Raymond Burr seemed to go through life telling whoppers, tall tales, and mythologizing himself, people who knew the real Raymond Burr all seemed to agree that he was a kind man who spent much of his free time helping other people. He had a reputation for being generous to charities, people down on their luck, and gave much of his time to public service of one sort or another. He also had a big reputation of playing practical jokes on people, especially on his co-star Barbara Hale. So maybe his biggest practical joke was his fictional tales of adventure. As always, thanks so much for stopping by, and check out all the other videos on this channel. Maybe you'll find one that will make you say,
I did not know that. Did you know that, Ed?